So where are we on the Brexit train? It's still on track, but it's been delayed a little bit, at least as yesterday. A suspension by the Prime Minister Boris Johnson and all of that. Let's get what's happening this morning with Juliana Olayinka, my colleague from our London studios. Juliana, good morning. Good morning to you in London and welcome to the program. Let's get on. I'm sure you're on the Brexit train. At what juncture are we right now with the destination October 31st in Brussels?
Good morning, Bosun. Well, we're all trying to figure out what happens next. It seems that most people now are turning to historians or academics to try and see if there's any precedent in history that will determine where we're going. But look, two things happened last night. It was a tale of two votes, the first being the vote for the second reading, which essentially means that MPs in the House of Commons backed Boris Johnson's deal. So at least they'll be looking into scrutinising it. But the most crucial and the second vote was the programme of motion, which was a 3-day timetable Boris Johnson was trying to secure so that he could deliver on his Halloween exit, and that failed. He lost that vote. So now all eyes are on to Brussels, because Brussels will now determine whether or not they will grant the UK an extension. Of course, the extension is supposed to be a 3-month extension, meaning that we would have to leave by the 31st of January, which Boris Johnson is not happy about. He said after the loss of the vote that he will be speaking to EU leaders, trying to get them to at least decrease that extension. If they don't, he said that he will call for a snap general election. So there could potentially be, for the first time in history, an election in Britain before Christmas. So now it all lies with them. We've heard from Donald Tusk, we've heard from Jean-Claude Juncker, but it doesn't lie with them. It lies with the EU 27, those heads of state, the likes of Merkel and Macron. And we know from Macron that they're not necessarily happy about giving an extension. They just want Brexit done, as we all do. So it's going to be interesting. And it will get pretty fiery at PMQs, which is the Prime Minister's question time, which will be taking place at midday today.
Interesting. Meantime, I'm looking at the stock market. I'm looking at the FTSE, and it's looking really green as we speak. So it looks like the market is tagging along the Brexit train, and just think, well, whatever happens at the political front, we need to make money, we need to create wealth, we need to hold our portfolios here, everyone.
Absolutely. Look, you know, the FTSE 100, it's had a pretty subdued start. It opened up at about 10 points, and that's really because the pound is low. Of course, at the moment, the proxy of Brexit is the pound sterling. It rode high at the beginning of the week at about $1.30. At the opening call, it was trading about $1.28, which is still quite high. But of course, you know, because of that vote yesterday, the pound did dip. And when the pound dips, generally, the FTSE 100 opens a little bit higher. But there will be PMQs. And if we hear any rumblings from the EU that they're likely to not make that extension a 3-month extension, then the pound could soar later today.
The pound is the whipping boy for the Brexit. Looks like the stock market is going on its own way. I'm looking at about 0.43% right now for the FTSE 100 index. That's 0.41% in the green, about almost 30 points. That's good news. But again, it's not so much of a good news for the chairman of Metro Bank, who's been asked to leave with immediate effect. What has it done? And is this bank in any kind of trouble, Juliana?
Well, you know, the Metro Bank has been in trouble. It's been in trouble for the past 12 months. They are a high street bank. They opened just after the crash, the big crash, where RBS had to be bailed out by the government. And in the past 12 months, it has been difficult for them, particularly because they had a major accounting error to the tune of £900 million at the beginning of the year. And that saw their share prices literally plunge. Vernon Hill did say at the beginning of the year he would be stepping down, but today he announced that he would be stepping down with immediate effect. And this just comes hours before the Metro Bank are due to release their Q3 results. So it could be telling that those results could be a little bit poor. A lot of analysts and observers as well are asking about the future of the bank, because of course we know, you discuss it a lot on your show, that a lot of big banks are moving to digital. They're not moving to high street. The death of the high street we've been reporting on for months in the UK. So they're wondering whether or not there is a future for Metro Bank, and for Vernon Hill, that future is finished.
Yes, very interesting. Folks are no longer interested in brick and mortar banking anymore. Everything is gone digital on your card, on your phone, around your fingertips and what have you. So it's a whole lot of new world out there right now. But again, we appreciate your coming through this morning. Juliana, you have about 2 hours to catch your breath, then join Chimezobi Wego at 1:30 for our Business Incorporated show. Thank you so much. Great job you're doing out of London. Keep on one eye on the Parliament, not far from where you are. And if you have the time, just stroll down there and see whatever you can listen to through the walls. Thank you, and have a great day. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow morning. So let's get on with some of the stories making the headlines around here. As far as the land border closure is concerned by Nigeria, what we've heard in the last hours, overnight, late yesterday, was that a team from Ghana had visited Abuja, Nigeria's political capital, to hold talks with the Nigerian government. In the wake of that, 2 separate teams have been set up, including trade and security, to have a conversation and jointly assess those border closure and see how the situation could be reappraised. That's what we learned from Joy TV in Ghana late last night, and we're bringing you up to speed on that. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll be back in 2 minutes.